Zach, I don't know about this start for Auburn 2-3. I mean, I'm sure everybody's jumping off the bandwagon, including recruits, including, guys who have lost the vision, and there's just no more momentum now for Auburn football after losing some games that they very well could have won.
That's what they said. That's what they said. I mean, both Auburn fans and folks outside of the Auburn sphere said, enjoy that top 5 class while you can.
Yeah.
Because it's going to slip away if you keep playing football like this. Well, I mean, Auburn doesn't have a top 5 class anymore.
No,
they don't. They have a top 4
3.
class.
Top 3
or 3 if you look at 247. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So
that's right.
And adding a quarterback is the central piece to any recruiting class. And this one is a good one. And when you add a dual threat guy with size and with elusiveness and with accuracy, a guy who outperforms others at various elite showcases, and a guy with charisma and a guy with some pull. I mean, there's just a lot of positives for Auburn football recruiting in the last 24 hours.
Yeah. Deuce Knight obviously flips from Notre Dame to Auburn. He's pretty much lived at Auburn the last few weeks of the season. He's been a mainstay with these visitor lists. And that's been important for several reasons. One, because Auburn needed Deuce Knight to flip away from Notre Dame, no question. But also, like you said, you mentioned, the charisma. This class really likes Deuce Knight. And I think Deuce Knight really likes this class. I mean, he's close with Auburn's current players, with the folks in the 2025 class, to the point where Alvin Henderson, who you can see his interview this morning with Charlie 5 on this very channel, talked about how it really felt like he's been a part of the class all along.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's kind of felt that way as we've talked about him, but at some point there were these thresholds. And for me, it was the Cal game, because he was supposed to announce the Cal game is kind of what was reported. And it's like, is he going to? And then you start hearing the smoke about Ole Miss, and then he's apparently going back to Notre Dame. And it's like, are we being strung along again? Like, what's going on? And then it happens in the middle of a week where arguably your football fan base is at the lowest point that it's been in a hot minute, and then flipping your star quarterback away from Notre Dame, one of the most prestigious football programs out there.
Yeah.
When you're 2-3, I think that sends a message, Brad. I don't think there's any question about it.
Yeah, and that message is that the vision that's being cast by the leadership of the football program is still a vision that people are believing in. Right. It's still a vision that certainly you hear the current players talk, and they still believe in it. They're still working just as hard. They believe they got a chance to go out and upset Georgia Saturday.
There we go. Yep.
And certainly the recruiting classes believe it as well. And that's what happens when you stick to your vision, you stick to your plan, you continue to work it if you believe in it, and guys will keep coming with you. And I think that's a very positive thing. I think it does say a lot. And, I know we're still 2 months away. We're only 2 months away from signing day, but it's probably not the last we're going to hear until signing day.
Yeah, sure. And there's more guys that I think will get in the boat between now and then. I do think Auburn's class will get better. And I mean, I talked about this earlier in the week. Like, there's not any guys that I'm really pointing at saying like, oh, they're going to jump off the ship.
Yeah.
Because Auburn's 2-3. Like, it just seems like all these guys are all in. It's always with the age of NIL, like there's always a chance, right? But I don't think Auburn is in danger of losing many of these guys. There's a few that I think are being courted by other programs at a high level. No question about it. Malik Autry, I think his relationship with Ohio State is going to be interesting. It was Auburn and Florida. Now it seems to be Auburn and Ohio State. But this is a guy that, once again, they seem to all really get along, really like each other. And that's important. But yeah, Deuce Knight flipping. I mean, I think that was monumental because it's not going to shut everybody up.
Yeah.
But I do think it calmed some Auburn people saying like, oh, okay, maybe they really do have the future of this program under control. It's grim right now. It stinks that Auburn's 2-3, but maybe the future really is okay.
Or maybe there's, because there's better perspective in other places. And I think that, and that's okay. I don't want to come off like I'm bashing people that are that are being negative. It's just maybe a lack of perspective, and that's understandable when you expect a better start than what you've seen so far. We've talked about that.
Yeah, and it's okay to have expected Auburn to go 5-0. I did.
Yes, sure.
I think you did as well.
And the statistical anomaly of what has happened with turnovers so far this year. I've said this a couple of other places. I don't remember if I've said it here or not, but if this were a scientific experiment.
You talk to other people?
Yeah.
You're talking to other people?
Yeah. You want to go down that road?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
We're gonna come up later with our six pack. It's gonna come up, and anyway.
Okay. All right.
So yes, I've said other places. If Auburn's football season so far was a scientific experiment, the scientists would take the variable of turnovers, and they would scrap the entire experiment. They would say this is so far out of balance that this experiment doesn't give us, it gives us so skewed a result that it's not really a fair experiment. Auburn's dead last in turnovers, the 7 more than the number 2 team in the SEC in turnover margin, which is Florida at -4, and Auburn's -11. It's so far off. So, yeah, it's okay to have expected Auburn to have started 4-1 or 5-0. They've played well enough in almost every phase to do that.
If you were a scientist, what field would you be in, you think?
Neurology. I'm very interested in
the brain.
Neurology. Yeah.
You're very interested in neurology?
Specifically neuroimaging. I don't think it's done enough.
Wow.
I wish that I wish neuroimaging was available for people going through mental health treatment.
Sure. Yeah.
And certainly I think there's a lot of biological stuff that could be traced back to neuroimaging if we would do it. If we would make it a little cheaper in our country and make it a little more accessible.
There we go.
Yeah.
Wow, that was such a deeper answer than I was expecting. I'm glad you hit me with that.
What about you? If you were a scientist, what field? Give me something totally opposite and not heavy at all.
I mean, I think biomechanics are interesting, like how the body is a machine. I think I'd probably be most interested in that. Is that an okay answer?
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay. It's not as deep as yours. I just think it's interesting how we're built like a machine and we don't treat it super great. I'm a victim of that. I'm working on it. We'll figure that out moving forward. But when you look at the future of this class now, Brad, how much should Auburn fans expect for other guys to come and follow suit now that Deuce Knight is almost, since we're admitting we're talking to other people, like I talked about this with somewhere else, where it's amazing to me that Auburn got this class without having a quarterback in it. Like it's truly amazing. And now that Deuce Knight is in the class, it almost legitimizes it to some extent. And I kind of wonder if, I mean, Caleb Cunningham's a big one. Andrew Babalola is a big one. Naeem Offord is a big one. Kind of curious if it makes those guys more likely now.
Well, and those guys are names that would be added to already high-profile names. Certainly the receiver position is going to be interested in who the quarterback is in a class.
Correct.
Offensive linemen are going to be interested in who they're blocking for potentially down the road. So, and we can look back and data will always show you, scientific data will always show you that quarterbacks have an effect on classes. Look no further than Walker White last year and the effect that he had, and as this really proactive and progressive recruiter for Auburn in the class. So I would expect that it has a direct impact, and I would expect on the offensive side specifically for there to be more guys that jump on board.
Yeah. You want to tell our friends about Barner Supply?
I sure do. BarnerSupply.com. Best looking Auburn hats around. Stickers you can put on anything, including like big cups. Look at what they did with the QR code too. So you've got your Barner Supply sticker right there. Yeah. And somebody wants to know more about it. Here's what somebody did in the office the other day. They said, I heard you talking about Barner Supply on Village Vice. Do I just go to the website? I said, you could, or you could just click the QR code right here on this sticker. BarnerSupply.com. Use our promo code Village Vice, no spaces. Buy a hat and a koozie, and when you use our promo code, you'll pay nothing for the koozie. You'll only pay for the hat. A lot of you are jumping on board with this. Make sure you take advantage of that offer while it is still out there. and you'll support the show, and you'll support some really outstanding Auburn people
Love
who
it.
really care about the products they put out. BarnerSupply.com.
Love that. Absolutely love it. So what do you kind of expect now feedback from the fan base? Not that this entirely matters, but it does feel like there's kind of been some more energy pumped back into the football program because of this.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think it's everything trickles down from the top, and you've heard consistent messaging all week long about how they believe in their process, they believe in their plan. This commitment is another sort of a confirmation that others are believing in it too. And if the top quarterback on your board believes in it, and the guys who haven't even played yet, who have been to campus, they've seen the same games we've seen. They've watched the same product from field level that we've watched. And they've probably had a little bit of even more of an insight on the nuts and bolts of game plans and things like that, and what the coaches are trying to do in these games, and how it would look if they were involved in a similar game plan than we have. And I think it's a confirmation that if those guys see it and they are on board and they still believe in it, then it's easier for the general fan who doesn't have as much access to believe it as well.
Yeah, I think so. Anecdotal, but in a group text with some buddies, and they're like, I'm thinking about going to Athens now. I wasn't going to, but now after this, I'm thinking about driving to Athens this weekend. I'm like, all right, cool. This has nothing to do with this year's team.
Yeah.
Or really next year's team, probably. But still, it is exciting that like the future is looking brighter, because I mean, if Auburn's going to do this, they've got to stack classes. And Deuce Knight joining this class, I think, makes it more legitimate, and it's going to, I think it just increases the odds of Auburn finishing in the top 5 when this is all said and done.
Yeah. Now you need more than that. You need more Dre Carters. You need more, big time stud offensive linemen. You need more big time stud defensive linemen like Malik
and they've got
Watson
those guys in the class right now. I mean, Nate Marshall is probably the stud in this class that's talked about the least. Flipping from Michigan. Sorry to bring that up. I know it's probably heartbreaking.
Fine. I hope Auburn beats Michigan for another guy in the class this year.
Yep. Little hinting at a 5-star Andrew Babalola there, but I mean, they've got the guys at every position group now where you're like, yes, that's going to be a problem for opposing teams if these guys develop to the level that they're projected to go to. I mean, I guess the weak position group in this class, and I've got to be really careful when I say that because Derek Smith is so good, but it is wide receiver, but you don't need a bunch of wide receivers in this class.
No, and that could change. I mean, if you get one other commitment, specifically, or 2 from guys that are on the board right now,
you're right.
That changes the whole look of the class. And you're right that, that group was already pretty well transformed from last year to this year. Yeah, but you got to keep doing it. I mean, every class, you want guys to come in every class in enough, like you want the bulk of those guys to come in and push the guys ahead of them immediately, because the end result, like people talk all the time about keep this guy happy, keep that guy happy. I want the best guy on the field.
Right.
And if guy A isn't happy because guy B came in and pushed him and took some of his snaps, okay.
You're saying if the best guy is younger.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I want
especially this year after a 2-3 start, get the young guys playing time. If it's close, give it to the young guy. There's a quote that Hayes Fawcett put out with Deuce Knight. Said, quote, "I'm here now, Auburn family. I'm coming after Naeem Offord, Andrew Babalola, Caleb Cunningham, Usman Kroma, and CJ Wiley."
I like a guy with big aspirations.
Yeah, and he said, "I'm not stopping until they slide to AU. Ain't no more freeze warning. It's freezing on the plains now."
All right.
Yes, that's an epic quote. Epic.
Again, I like a guy with moxie and a guy who'll come out and has got big aspirations. Can I push back on something small that you said a minute ago?
You can push back on anything you want.
All right. If it's close, you play the younger guy after a 2-3 start. I don't know that I'm in agreement with that. Okay. I think that you still got 7 games left this year. I think this team has played well enough to go give Georgia all it wants. I think this team's good enough to go give Missouri all it wants, Kentucky. I think these are winnable. It is not a reach.
Let's go through that.
Okay.
Let's go through that then. Is there a position group where you would say, hey, it's close between a younger classman and an upperclassman? The first one that comes to mind for me, and correct me if I'm talking out of turn or if you think I'm wrong,
all right,
is DeMarcus Riddick and then one of these senior linebackers. There's like 5 of them. And you can put whichever one you want out there that's playing.
See, but this is where I say it's semantics.
Okay.
Then what we're saying is it's the same. If it's the same, then you play them all, give them equal reps.
So you would say DeMarcus Riddick is better than Mausi, Austin Keys, and Eugene Asante? You'd say they're all equal?
That's tough.
Because I wouldn't say they're all equal.
No, I wouldn't say they're all equal. No.
I mean, we've seen like a half of a game's worth, just the total snaps from Riddick.
Yeah.
Like, dang, that guy can play.
No, I would play him more.
Okay.
I would play him more. But if I thought that if I thought a senior was a little better now than a freshman is now, but the freshman is going to be better 2 years from now.
That's what we're talking about here, right? Is that what this is?
But Riddick may be better now than some of those guys.
Okay, I'm not disagreeing with you.
All right.
All right, here's another one then. This just kind of came up. So
sure.
Sam Jackson or Malcolm Simmons?
I think Malcolm's better. I think Malcolm's better now. Yeah,
I think I'm there with you.
So that doesn't fall into what I'm saying, though.
Yeah, I'm trying to find an example for this to actually like matter. Defensive line, like Malik Blockton is the freshman versus seniors. I'll put Rakes and Jones, Isaiah Rakes and Jason Jones.
Okay.
I would almost say the Blockton is better.
Okay, but I would say that Jason or Isaiah are probably a little ahead of him right now. And so I play them more right now, especially in a critical spot in the game, because this season is not a throwaway season. You got over half the season left, and you got a lot of valuable stuff still out there for this year. We cannot fall into the ESPN narrative that it's playoff or nothing.
I've got 2 more.
Okay.
I've got 2 more. Perry Thompson, who we haven't seen much of.
Right. Yeah.
Or Camden Brown.
Yeah, Camden Brown.
You're giving more reps to Camden Brown right now.
If I think Camden is a little better, even a fraction better.
And right now, today, he probably is a little better. I would say it's worth it to give more reps to Perry. So maybe this is one. Maybe that's what we were looking for. Here's one more. Amaris Williams, Zacchaeus Walker.
Amaris has been a little bit banged up, but
he's still playing a few. I think he played 5 snaps against Oklahoma, I think.
Yeah, I'm probably Amaris.
Yeah.
Amaris probably a little better.
And where I wanted to go is DBs because, I love talking about corners, but the younger guys are playing at corner.
And better is
what about Caleb Harris and Caleb Wooden? But I think Caleb Harris is better right now.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really play into what we're talking about. So, okay. Got it.
But the Malik blocked, the Perry Thompson, Camden Brown one is a pretty good.
That's probably the closest to what we were debating, I guess.
Do I think Perry's career will be better than Camden's career? Sure. Yeah.
We're talking about today. We're talking about against Georgia.
And that's not to say any of these guys are bad or not going to produce or whatever. Just if you're looking long-term versus today. My point in this is you put the guy on the field that you believe will help you win the very next snap and not the guy that you think is going to be better 2 years from now.
Got it. I just think if it's close, you go with the younger guy in this situation.
I understand. Yeah, no, I get that argument. I might take the other side of it, but I do think a lot of it's semantics too.
Sure. So I agree with that.
Right. You want to get into
not semantics?
No.
It's not semantics. Roback.com. You're going to look good if you're wearing Roback.com. Look at that. I got the performance hoodie on right now.
Yeah.
I also could have been wearing one of their incredibly comfortable, incredibly good looking collared shirts.
That's
right. I
right.
wore their quarter zip yesterday because there was it was a little cool for like a little bit at night. It was appropriate to wear when the fam and I went out to dinner. So that was fun. But yeah, Roback.com, their catalog, it's insane. It's insane. All of the different patterns and all the different products they have. You're going to love all of them. RHOBACK.com, roback.com. We don't want you to pay full price.
No.
Use promo code VICE20 for 20% off your order. And when you go in, every time I've ordered there, they've like auto-filled the coupon code. Our code is better, and it also supports the show. So make sure you take that out and you apply VICE20 when you check out for 20% off your order. That's at roback.com.
I had my Roback hoodie on last night when my daughter went 4 for 5 in her softball game.
Is she
on
a
a bum
slugger?
ankle. Huh? This
Wow.
whole team is sluggers. It's hilarious too. It's the age, like she's 7, so it's the age where nobody's ever played softball before.
Mm-hmm.
And yet it's the Monstars. And my son, who's 11 and has never been on a winning baseball team, it ticks him off so much because he's like, she doesn't even care. And her team is like the actual Oakland A's.
That's
They're
awesome.
and so it's fun. All right. Village Vice.
Good for her.
Yeah. All right. We ready to go with this? First
Yes.
one is against the spread, mybookie.ag. By the way, when you use promo code next round, you double your initial deposit.
Insane.
Unbelievable. All right. Alabama at Vanderbilt. Alabama 22.5-point favorite. I'm not asking win or lose. I'm asking, does Vandy keep it within 22.5?
I have Alabama minus the points in this.
Okay. All right. I don't. I think they'll play ball control and they'll keep it close. I know Alabama can score quickly.
Yeah.
But they'll still win the game, and that's
it
the
is
most
going to be.
important thing.
I'm curious to see what Pavia does against the Bama defense.
Yeah.
It's like Georgia was able to move the ball against that Bama defense, but that's not the same thing, right? I want to see like who this Bama defense is. I think they're going to stop Vandy, but there's a chance. Because that's the argument, right? If you're going to take Vandy to cover, you got to think that they score 17 to 21 points, something around there. So
probably, and they only do that. They only do that by protecting the ball and staying on the field. They got to put together 13 play drives that chew up 6 minutes.
It's hard to do against that team.
It is. It is, but we'll see if they can do it.
Yeah.
All right. Number 9, Missouri is a 2.5-point underdog in College Station against number 25, Texas A&M.
Yeah. I'm pounding the Missouri money line in this one. I think Missouri wins outright. I think the wrong team's favored. Yeah.
Missouri has had a bye week. I do too. And I'm still, look, I understand that they beat Arkansas last week in Arlington. They're scoring 20 or so points a game. I think Missouri's offense is better than what A&M can ultimately do offensively.
Yeah.
So I will take Missouri as well. We're in agreement on that one. Number 12, Ole Miss is a 9-point favorite at South Carolina. South Carolina already has a win over Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky has a win over Ole Miss. This is the old transitive property special.
Yeah, love that. Love that. South Carolina's defensive front has vastly exceeded expectations for me, and a lot of people kind of praise them going into the season. I didn't buy it, Brad, and clearly I was wrong on that. So I'll with that being said, I'm still taking Ole Miss.
I feel like Ole Miss not going to lose 2 of these games in a row.
If they do, what happens? Like what are the ramifications if Ole Miss loses to South Carolina?
What are they'll think it's November already.
Yeah.
It's a big stretch for I'll tell you this, they need this bounce back because they play LSU next week in Baton Rouge.
And I know they played each other a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
But South Carolina may be better than LSU. I know LSU won, but
they at least were right there with them. I mean, they were at least punch for punch.
One of the better games I've watched this year. So
yeah. What I don't know yet is Robbie Ashford quarterback or is Sellers back for South Carolina? Was he able to come back after the bye week?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Because I think that matters. I think with Sellers, South Carolina's got a chance. I think with Robbie, it's just probably not enough. How about number 4, Tennessee at Arkansas? Tennessee, a 13-point favorite in Fayetteville.
I think Tennessee is going to put together a pretty magical season for that program. I've been pretty consistent, very pro Nico.
Yeah.
I think that continues. I think Tennessee wins by a lot. I think they cover that.
I think they cover that. Again, only chance for Arkansas is to hold the ball for 38 minutes.
Which they can do, but Tennessee's defense is better than people are giving it credit. Tennessee's a good team.
Yeah,
Tennessee could be a playoff team. They're really, really good.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Tennessee defense is better than the Texas A&M defense, and Arkansas didn't do all that much against the A&M defense. So I like Tennessee to cover.
Reasonable, sure.
How about UCF at Florida? The Fighting Gus Malzahns are at Florida, and UCF is a 2.5-point favorite. That line started at 1, so people are really backing the Knights. Everybody's jumping on with UCF right now. Everybody loves UCF.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I think, this has got like Gus Malzahn's signature win of the season written all over it, right?
maybe.
Gets blasted by Colorado, right? And then,
Yep.
You turn around the next week and you're like, why can't you do this every week, Gus? Why can't you do it every week? Yeah, give me the Knights.
I think Florida wins this game by a touchdown or more.
All right.
I think coming off the bye week, I think they shored some things up defensively. And I think that not that the athletes are that far off, but I give Florida a little bit of an edge there. So I'm going to give them some momentum after their bye week. I'll go with the Gators.
Okay.
How about Auburn at Georgia? That's our final game in our Village Vice 6-pack. 23.5 points. Georgia's favored by 23.5. I think Auburn covers that. I think, I like Auburn to go over there and make this a game. I think the stats and the trends and what you watch of Georgia prior to the second half in Tuscaloosa last week. Okay? And I know you can't totally take that away from the equation. But if you didn't watch, if all you watched of Georgia was everything except the second half last week, they're showing some beatable characteristics.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the same Georgia team for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But does that mean Auburn can go in there and keep it close? I don't know. I have Auburn plus the points.
Yeah.
I think it's close at the half. And then I think sometime in the second half, I don't know if this is kind of what I predicted for the Oklahoma game, and why I picked Oklahoma is I think it's going to be close, and then Auburn's going to give away the game via turnover towards the end. And sadly, that was correct against Oklahoma. I think something similar could happen against Georgia. I do think it's close, but give me Auburn plus 23.5. I don't think they win.
I will say this: Oklahoma number 1 in the conference in turnover margin. Georgia is 13th in the conference. They're even on the year, not a plus or minus. So they're not the ball hawks that Oklahoma has been so far this year.
Yeah. That's turnover margin, right? Not total turnovers for. This is, to Georgia's credit, though, like they've played probably 2 playoff teams.
Sure. Well, I don't know if Clemson's a playoff team or not.
I think they're close. I think they're fringe.
They're close.
It's going to come down if they could beat Miami in the ACC championship game, which they could. They could. I think Klubnik's a pretty good quarterback. So
this is by far Georgia's best home game so far of the year, because Clemson was a neutral site game. They were on the road at Kentucky. They were on the road at Alabama.
They played Clemson in Atlanta, right?
Yeah, but that's not a home game.
I don't know if I count that, but you're correct.
It's not at Sanford Stadium.
I understand.
Their other game was Tennessee Tech at home. So can they start fast? If not, can Auburn start fast?
Yep. It's their homecoming game, for what that's worth.
Yeah.
Don't ask Kirby about that at SEC Media Days, or he'll be really mean to you. Shout out to Daryl Dapprich for asking the question anyway.
Kirby mean? A little edge to him?
Yeah, he was super. He wouldn't look at Daryl. He just kind of was doing this when he answers. Like, I don't know. They just bring me the schedule. I'm like,
you're chasing a fly around the room, huh?
Like, you don't know. You're telling me that you're letting somebody else decide all that? Oh, you buy it.
Yeah,
you buy it?
100%. Coaches don't know who the homecoming opponent is.
Come on.
They don't know that.
If they're going to make it an SEC game,
they don't know what color the fans are supposed to wear. They don't know who's homecoming. They don't know this stuff.
I don't buy that, but that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Most coaches possibly, but you're telling me something happens in the Georgia football program and Kirby doesn't know about it? I don't know about that.
If you've seen never mind. I'm not going to reference driving records. I'm just not going to do it.
He was asked that question first, and then Daryl asked him about the homecoming thing. So
sure.
He had one of those answers canned and rehearsed. You can guess which one.
Yes, I think he's aware of most of what's happening within his program, but not who's homecoming and what color should the fans wear.
So we agreed on most of those 6-packs, more than normal.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. All
I
right.
don't know what that means for the Saturday, but
No
we'll
clue.
find out.
Probably has no impact on it one way or the other.
Zero.
So, Brad, I think that
Shout
about
out.
does it. What?
I just wanted to mention this because so many have watched our last 2 shows. Shout out the Oklahoma fans who are on a bye week, who are on an open date. So I just want to get that Oklahoma Sooners in the algorithm because, boy, a lot of them have commented on our last 2 shows.
Hey, Oklahoma fans have been great. They've been great in more ways than one, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Brad, that does it for today's show.
It does. Thanks everybody for watching, for pushing over 5,000 subscriptions to the channel.
Super
and
cool.
Remember, until next time, everyone has vices. Make sure Village Vice is one of yours.